Gang, we're going to have a special conversation here with Jenna Quentin. Jenna and I have met at DE, Dynamic Essentials. You hear me often talk about. And DE is just a really cool space because Jenna is not a chiropractor and she's kind of coming to the chiropractic realm. And we're going to learn about her story today coming from Kansas. Welcome, Jenna. How are you, girl?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Let me just tell you, like, just having you on Zoom here and just seeing your energy, it's palpable. It's absolutely amazing. And you just shared your assistant, Juliana, who's sitting with you. And it's like, for a minute, you flash the camera at it. It's like, you girls are powerful women, man.
Yeah.
Powerful. So, I want people to feel your energy and why are we having this discussion? Who is Jenna? Talk to me, girl.
Yeah. So I grew up in Kansas in the heartland and really grew up with all things natural. That was a wonderful thing my parents gave me. And also homeschooled. So also with this idea of curiosity and learning and not being afraid to just say natural is what is normal. So that's how I grew up. And then as a teenager, I was having throughout my childhood horrible migraines and really was exploring like every natural possibility. Like you name it, I've done it. So one of those things that I was doing was chiropractic with a great couple here in my hometown. And um, that really was something that I found helpful in my life, but I didn't really understand it past, I think my migraines are better. Um, then fast forward, I married a Frenchman, moved to France, and had a couple of kids, was still having migraines. But then when I was about 26, after that second baby, couldn't function. Just so much terrible neck and shoulder pain that I would hold my head to sneeze and just couldn't pick up that tiny baby in her crib. I was just like, oh, I can't even. And it was also an interesting point to realize that as a family, it was when we decided to move back to the US. So my husband's restarting his career. I'm restarting my career. You know, our marriage is at this tense point of me being subluxated. We're making this huge move. And immediately I was like, okay, I had in France seen an osteopath, seen a kinesiologist, had x-rays, and they just said, I don't know, you've got degeneration and you should take anti-inflammatories. And I was like, I don't think that works for me. Right. I'm 26. I'm not just going to say that this is my life. I can't sneeze. So I immediately found a chiropractor, and it happened to be Dr. Ryan Dops, Dr. Denise Dops, and they took such good care of me. Also really teaching me. Like, I don't think I have ever met such kind, giving people just immediately off the bat, took us in, loved us. They were our first friends back in the US. So that was 2013. And I'm happy to report chiropractic helped me sneeze. So I don't like just that basic function of the things your body needs to do. Yeah. But then also, I think that as women too, after my third baby, it was like, I would like to push myself physically. I would like to get back in shape. I was never in shape. I would like to push myself physically. I want to run a half marathon. And, my hips and back and all of my spine and nervous system being like, do you think you can run a half marathon? I don't know. And being supported with chiropractic through that. But then I ran a half marathon. But it was really in that 2013, 2014 time when chiropractic helped me so that I could fall in love with my husband again, so that we could not just make it through a tough season of him changing careers, but we could actually start thriving. And that's like, if I made a whole timeline, if I pinpointed the moment, it's like, that's the moment. that's when we started thriving, when we got help. And
what was your husband's first career? What did he change from?
so he has a degree in health quality and environment. So he was doing like OSHA stuff at a business in France, and now he's a firefighter.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
it is. And now he's in paramedic school. He's about to, I have to brag a little bit. He's in paramedic school doing awesome, loving the anatomy, loving serving people, the biggest heart ever.
That's my wife and my two older kids, Kylie and Sarah, literally just landed in Paris about an hour ago.
Oh,
And they leave tomorrow for Greece. So it's like, I'm sure I'll get a picture shortly of the, what is it? The Eiffel Tower.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them to soak it up.
Yeah.
France is such an amazing place. I love them so much.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that, for him, chiropractic is not very popular in France. There are some great chiropractors around Paris, but it's not something that people know about. So my husband, his only point of reference for chiropractic, as a Frenchman, was chiropractic for racehorses.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the only thing he knew about it was, well, racehorses get adjusted so that they can perform well. I'm a race, and so he always is like, well, I must be a racehorse. I need a tune-up. I think that's awesome, especially in his job.
So talk to me about the disconnect that you and your husband were feeling that got reconnected as you started getting clear, getting adjusted.
Yes. So we married young, and
like, how old are you?
I am 36.
Okay.
So we have been married, it'll be 15 years in April. Yeah. So, and we had a baby like immediately. We'd been married 18 months when we had our first baby. And, you know, I had moved to France. And so I was learning this whole new culture, whole new language. And in retrospect, like his parents were like, isn't this a lot for you guys? And now I'm like, wow, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. Like new country, new marriage, new baby. Like, wow, we were doing the very best we could.
Right.
And then switching it all to be like, now I am going to be the partner who is most comfortable in this culture. And also, he just, that was such a huge switch. And it was kind of that moment of like, is there any spark? Is there any life? Like, do we like each other? Wow. Because we never see each other. Bless his heart, he was working construction. When we moved to the US, he worked construction to feed us and then studied all night to get his EMT and fire 1 and 2.
Awesome.
Yeah. And awesome. I was working for the newspaper. So it was really just that moment of, like December 2013, we had a date night, which was, you know, pretty big deal for us to go out. And I was like, I need something, man. I need something back from you. And it was one of those, like beautiful arguments where you're like, this subluxation is getting cleared now. You know, like,
I need something, man. That's like that emotional conversation that I'm sure most guys, if they're lucky, have had with their wife, and by the grace of God didn't blow it off. And that right there was probably the pivotal shift in your entire relationship. I need something, man. Like this shit ain't going on any longer. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's like, when you are so like, so dedicated to each other, yep. You know that you will never leave. But so it's that moment of saying like, this needs to grow because otherwise I'm staying here, but we have to keep going.
But here's the poor guy that's working his ass off construction, studying at night. He's like, I'm doing the best I can.
And
you're like, but my cup's not filled. Like, yeah, because you just wanted that connection.
Yes.
And he was doing what a guy does. We work and we take care and we provide. But one of the biggest things is women need their emotions, like just connection. Yeah, that's huge. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, and he said that. He was like, why are you doing this to me now? I said, okay, here, let's problem solve. And I was like, how about if you think about me, you text me? We never had smartphones before that. And I was, so, like new couples starting out in France had no money. So we paid for each tiny text and we never texted anybody. So in the US, we were like land of opportunity, unlimited texting. And so I was like, if you think about me, text me. And he has done that for the last, I don't know what year this is, 9 years. He has texted me the sweetest, best things. And even just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you, miss you, see you in 24 hours. And that was huge. But I think too, just the fact that I was being adjusted and I was in a point of getting myself back to a state of ease where I could say, hey, I'm going to speak up and say, this is what I need. I just need a text. If you think about me, text me.
Where'd that thought come from, that just, I need a text?
I love words. So
Yeah.
I have been writing forever. Up on my wall here is a rejection letter from when I was 13. And I was sending out manuscripts to magazines at 13.
Wow.
So I have my favorite rejection letter. And so I love words. And I was like, I know deep in my heart that he loves me, but I need a word. I need something that in that moment when it's midnight and he's at the fire station, I need a word that I can go back and read through texts and be like, wow, what a man.
Yeah. Have you read the book 5 Love Languages?
Yes.
Yeah, that is a transformational book. My wife, we had a very similar conversation because I was working a lot. I was, helping a lot of chiropractic, doing stuff. I mean, I was doing the best I could. And one day she was like, hey, listen, stop. Like, I'm right here. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, it's all good. And no. And I was like, and I'm like, you feel like a failure. Like, shit, I thought everything was good. So she gave me 5 love languages and she said, you need to read this before the next DE. And I didn't read it. And it was the night before. And she points to the book and she said, you promised me. And I was like, son of a gun. So I literally started it that morning and I read it, finished it by the time the plane landed. And it was hard, man. I'm telling you, it was like for kind of like a dude to start reading that book and get the first 2 chapters was like stick a fork in my eye. And then it just started opening me up. Because I said, all right, my wife wants me to read this for a reason. There's a level of commitment to something I'm missing. And I'm not going to be that guy that ends up divorced because I'm stubborn and I'm an idiot. So I'm all in. And once I kind of just let that open up and to the conversation and said, let's let this happen. I mean, I've utilized those tools forever now, just even with my kids, my patients, just communicating with everybody. We all get our cup filled in different ways. So kudos to you for having the guts to have that conversation and to your husband for listening. That's powerful. So now where'd the conversation come? We're like, all right, we're leaving France.
So my husband is just really innately in tuned to, really in tune to God in just a way that in an organic way that I don't even I can't even comprehend. And he just said, it's time.
Wow.
And I was like, I love being here. I love the food. I love the people. I love what we're doing. I love my little children being bilingual. I am not moving back to Newton, Kansas. And he was like, it's time. And I was like, okay, I will start the paperwork. I will start the stuff for your green card, but God is going to stop it and I'm not going to have to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out, huh? You're sitting in Kansas right now.
Yes. And it has been so funny. Like even it was just, I don't know if anybody who has gone through an immunization process of becoming a citizen, because now February of 2020, he became a citizen, a US citizen.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. But that whole journey is terrifying. From going to the embassy in Paris, and I'm an American, I had my American passport and you walk across the street and the Marines take a step forward. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then they're interviewing him and they're like, okay, how did you meet? Okay, why was she at the fire station as a 19-year-old? And he's like, school field trip? I don't know. And so the whole process, I was like, at some point, like if we just stay where we are in France, we will never have to go through this process. And just that fear of separation, huge abandonment issues, but just that fear of separation, that like that a government could separate us. Even at the airport flying into the US, when they're like, okay, your green card, all of your paperwork. And I was like standing there with a cat, a violin, two kids, like everything we owned. And I'm like, they're not going to let him in. And he's going to have to go back to France. And I'm going to be stuck in the US. And then France isn't going to let me in. And just huge fear of all of that. But we made it through, and we got here, and each step of the way, it was confirmation of, you know, just the right timing. He got a construction job, just the right timing. He got into EMT Fire 1 and 2. We were able to buy a house, which we could never afford in France. Like I don't know prices on the East Coast or Florida, but you know, you can buy a 5-bedroom house in Newton, Kansas, and live really well and raise your children in a beautiful environment. Everything is possible, right? Each step of the way, just so many confirmations this was where we were supposed to be. And even for me in my career, that I could work in newspapers, work with businesses, work with websites and blogs, that it was really tricky to do that from France. So yeah, each step of the way just confirmed you're doing what you're supposed to do.
So you talk about language and how words are so important in communication. And you were seeing a chiropractor before the DOPS, right?
Yes.
But you said you never really understood what was going on. What happened when you walked into the DOPS world that obviously was transformational, because I'm guessing they explained what was happening. What happened there?
Well, I think it was also just how they were caring for me. Like even without words, that was being really strongly communicated, that love, give, and serve, to the point that, and then they were educating us enough that I was like, wait a minute, because Ryan said, how about you start writing for us? You write? How about you start writing for us? Like a year later. So as he was telling me things, telling me information for the blog, I was learning all of that, to the point that I said, hey, so my 5-year-old, who I don't understand why this has been so difficult, just 5 years of like, why is this so hard? What is the matter with this healthy child? And I was like, I think he has sensory processing disorder. Could chiropractic help that? And Ryan, I was like, because apparently it has to do with the nervous system. And Ryan was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, but I don't think this kid will let you touch him. You know, like this is a sensory avoidant child who, you know, always wearing a hoodie. Everything's too bright. Go to the beach and he stays on the blanket because sand and noise and light. Screaming in the car, clawing his way out of a car seat. I was like, I don't know if he will let you touch him to be adjusted. And Dr. Ryan, with that full confidence, was like, put him on the table. And Luca immediately, like that first adjustment, relaxed and loved it. And he knew that that purposeful touch was helping him. And his whole nervous system, you know, just was connected and calmed down. And that, I think, for both my husband and I, was really the moment when we went, okay, so it helped me to be able to sneeze. That's great. But it's helping our child really in a very functional way. After a few months of being adjusted, we were at my cousin's and I said, don't look now, but Luca is on the swing set. He is on the swing. He is swinging. He is okay with that proprioceptive movement that he was not okay with before. And now, so that was 8 years ago. Now, well, I should say too, then we worked with some dyslexia issues too. So that was hard. But it was still continuing chiropractic care has been that link. Like we've done, reading intervention, we've done occupational therapy things, but chiropractic is the only thing that has continued this whole 8 years, to the point that in fifth grade, this kid's teacher at a parent teacher meeting said, "Oh, I would never have known." Like, never have known he did reading intervention. No, he doesn't have any problem with, messy science experiments. He doesn't have any problem with, no, like, what a great kid. And to see that in your child, to see, like, no, he doesn't need to wear a hood all the time. He doesn't need to wear a hat all the time. He's just he is the vibrant, healthy, happy child that he was born to be.
What a freaking story. I've never heard that before from you.
Yeah.
Look, we start off with like your headaches are better.
Yeah.
Right. But this is so much deeper. It's like, listening to Innate transformed your entire family.
Yes. Yes.
So follow me here for a minute. So you and your husband go on a date night, you sit and have a talk. Where's your life if your husband doesn't listen?
So here's the thing that I know about myself. I'm a pusher. So I would keep pushing and he would keep avoiding. Right?
So it would be very stressful and it would be a fight.
Yeah. And I know that I would be like, you know what? Well, screw you, man. I'm going to keep doing my thing and keep going and keep going. And I would probably develop a whole life apart from him.
And then your husband wakes up one day and says, it's time. We're moving.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't listen?
Exactly. Like, once he has decided that is what is going to happen, so he would move.
And then you end up with Dr. Dobbs and his wife, the two of them who are amazing people.
Yes.
What if they never tell you the story? What if they never educate you to the point where now Luca gets on that table?
Yeah. Then also the trickle down effect, because he's the oldest of 4 kids, of if his dysfunction became what I thought was normal for my children, I'm not sure, like, even him transitioning from, because I homeschooled for a couple of years, I was not sure that he would be able to function in a school setting. I was not sure that he would be able to do that. So
yeah, the kid was going through hell, man. He was trapped inside his body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the beauty is you felt and heard something from the Dops that picked up your son and put him on the table, and it transformed him. And then I also think about that letter on your wall that you look at, the rejection letter. What if you got that job?
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at now is you're on a mission right now.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what you're doing in your mission, because I see how God is using you, and how because no one reaches success, I think, unless they go through some struggles. And I always think about the what if you made that left-hand turn, stayed in France, probably end up divorced or just miserable. What if you stayed with that other chiropractor? They never educated you. Your son never gets adjusted. What if, just what ifs? But there was so many little yeses that have now turned into a mission. So what's your mission? What are you doing now? Because I think this is a huge statement of listening to innate communication. You didn't know what you didn't know until you were communicated to, and failures in your life are turning into a huge success.
Yes. Well, so my mission right now is there was one specific morning in France, as a mom of 2 small children, just completely miserable, that I looked out and I saw my neighbor, and beautiful redhead, brown suede skirt, boots, like just autumn personified. And I was like, I am here in literally, baby spit up on my robe. And so now my mission, and I don't do well that way. I don't do well stewing in my own juices, listening to How to Train Your Dragons 30 times a day. So my mission now is to reach that mom who I was, that mom who's in her closet, crying because she doesn't know why this 5-year-old keeps having meltdowns at the zoo. And nothing will calm him. She's probably eating some chocolate and then she's beating herself up for eating chocolate. She's on Instagram, right? And she's like, I'm just gonna look at, a recipe for dinner. But she's really wanting hope. She's wanting connection. She's wanting answers. So my mission is to show up for her. My mission is to help chiropractors to tell their stories in such a way. If I can be a middle woman that takes the chiropractor's stories and knowledge and puts it through so that that mom can find it. Or even when I think about how many guys in their 40s I see who are like, I don't know, I guess I'm old. I guess my back just hurts. I guess I'm just going to live like this. And they're just scrolling through Facebook Marketplace. I want to show up for that guy where he's like, oh, what? I could save my marriage. I could be vibrant and healthy. Or like the teenager who's on TikTok, who's just, watching funny videos and things. And then he's like, whoa, that's a powerful chiropractor. That's a pretty cool dude. What is he doing? What is he talking about? That's what I want to do. And that's really my mission, because even for the families like mine who know natural health, who know chiropractic, there's so many stories that we need to hear and know. This summer, one of my children was constipated, and I didn't know it because they don't share these things, and to the point where it was painful. And then they were like, came home from school and was like, my side hurts. And I was like, yeah, get in the car. It's Monday. We're going to go get adjusted. And we get to DOPS and she doesn't want to be adjusted. And I was like, okay, what's the matter with you? She bursts into tears and she's like, my belly hurts so much. And I'm like, oh, well, you definitely need to get on the table and let's talk to Dr. Ryan. And he starts, checking her out, and he's like, gets her adjusted and everything, but says, you probably need to watch her tonight, because it is on her right side. If she's constipated, she's at a risk for appendicitis. And I immediately freak out. And as a good friend, he sees it in my face and he goes, don't freak out. It's okay. Like, her body knows what to do. We've adjusted her. Power is on. We're helping her out. Just let's do all of the things that we know she needs.
Yeah.
So then she still is constipated. I'm like, come on. 2 days later, there's a storm and I can't drive back to their office. Like, I'm in the rain pouring. I don't know if you've been in a Midwest storm, but it is, you don't mess around. I was like, right. There's going to be a tornado. It's flash flooding. It's crazy, man. So I'm like, I can't. So I called them and I'm like, I can't get in. I'm going to call the chiropractor in my hometown that I went to and probably honestly didn't listen to back in the day. Yeah. And I was like, hey, could I bring my daughter in? And they're like, see you in 10 minutes. So they go in, checks her out, and my daughter is shy. She's like, I don't want to be adjusted by somebody new.
Right.
She's like, here are my list of chiropractors: Dr. Denise, Dr. Ryan, Dr. Mason. She's like, those three. Yeah. And I was like, baby, can you just trust me? You're going to be okay. We get into this chiropractor, lovely woman, making jokes with her. She's like, you're going to text me and tell me the eagle has landed when you poop, right?
Ah, good one.
Yeah, just having fun with her. Gets her adjusted, take her home. 15 minutes later, the eagle has landed.
Amen.
Yeah, 15 minutes after that adjustment. And I was like, I know these things, but those stories still need to be told.
Yep.
Like, I know my child needs to be adjusted. I know my child needs to be checked, but is that my first, like, if I hadn't been going on a Monday, would I have taken her into the chiropractor first?
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I
And what if you waited? What if you said,
what
well,
if we waited?
yeah, I mean, you had a good source, and again, what if you listen to your gut, find someone closer for the moment, and get that
Mhm.
adjustment done. And by the grace of God, that office is like, see you in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, by the next Monday, we're back at Dot's office and they're like, how you doing? And she's like, well, obviously I'm fine. You know, she's already forgotten about it. She's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, function
That eagle
restored.
landed a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
So it is
awesome.
like just those things that even families who do a lot of natural things to remind them, like, oh, uh, dysfunction also looks like this, dysfunction looks like that, dysfunction looks like this, dysfunction looks like that. And we get to the source.
Yeah. You got a heck of a story, girl. I
I'm
love it.
I so as a teenager, there was an influential family friend who gave me a book by William Zenzer, um, writing about your life, and in that book, the author says, uh, God gives stories to people who will tell them, and I've taken that as a sacred responsibility. That if a story comes across my way, it is my responsibility to tell it. And if I don't, God will hold me accountable.
God gives stories to people.
Who will tell them?
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So your objective, now you have your own company, right? What's it called?
Yes. Adjust your media.
Adjust Your Media. And it's a resource for chiropractors to share their stories, and you put it into action and put it out obviously on social media for them to
Yes.
get out there and to educate families, moms in particular, that are in a tough spot, so that they can wake up and get their butt to a chiropractor.
Yes. And I think I gravitate towards moms just because I am one, but really for everybody who either already knows about chiropractic or is new to chiropractic, and helping doctors who want to delegate it out to me to manage their account, or
Yep.
doctors who want to do it themselves. And I'll
Yep.
give you the tools and ingredients to bake that cake yourself.
Well, let me
But
tell you, no doctor should be doing it themselves. I mean, the chiropractor should be focused on the patients and adjusting,
yes,
and they should literally be hiring people like yourself to run that for them and just
yes,
feed you information. And obviously you're doing it well. You've got Juliana helping you, so you've grown. And people need to know this, because it's if the chiropractor tries to be a jack of all trades, they're going to be a master of none. So it's
yeah,
master on transforming lives, and then we need people like you to get that message out there, because people need to hear this story and all these stories. And I love that. God's created your whole vibe to put this message out there, because like that letter on the wall, if it said you're hired, we don't have you in our profession to be able to share this message. So people
yeah.
need to hear this. Are you going to be at DE in August?
I'm planning on October. The kids
Okay.
start back at school
Yeah.
that same weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's better for mama to stay home and to come in October.
Awesome. One of the things we're doing with Wake Up Humans is we've created a whole new website, is to have a referral resource. So when people from different states are like, all right, say they see something you put out there, and you've got the mom who just came out of the closet and she's like, hey, I need help for my kids. Who do I go see? They can go to
Mhm.
our site and just pick someone that we know is going to do a great job. you know
Absolutely.
so we could definitely work with you on that, and I've got some other ideas. But listen, I feel blessed that we had this conversation, and that people are going to be able to hear your voice, because you are a quiet one, but you're powerful, girl. You know?
Well, and I think that it's something I had a doctor last summer who said, you're going to need to get louder. And I appreciated that from another woman, because like in real life, I think that I somehow learned to be quiet.
Hmm.
And like if I get back to my true self, I'm not quiet.
Sometimes the softness is the greatest strength, though.
Mm.
I'll give you one thing: you are persistent. You're very persistent, which is, I love that, which is why I said we got to have this girl on, because I get so busy in my own world running around, and Michelle's like, we got to have this girl on. She's got something to say. I'm like, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because I got no idea what I'm getting into. And
Yeah.
now rolling through this whole story, this could literally, if people just shut up and listen, could help transform their life, which is what it's all about.
Well, and the other side of it, part of my push now is, um, you know, even in my marriage now, my husband had, as a firefighter, a lot of them have second jobs. He started his own business doing construction a couple years ago. And so then again, we didn't see him ever. He was working 100 hours a week all the time with his own business. I'm freelancing and starting my own business and growing my business and my mission, um, to also be able to then take care of my family and to be able to tell my husband, I've got you. You don't need a second job. You can go to paramedic school and not worry about anything. Like that saved us again, because I don't know, like when we can't actually connect and see each other, it's like, okay, you're just gonna work all the time and I'm gonna work all the time. And it's like, no,
Thank
no, no,
God,
no,
thank God
stop.
you're in, thank God you're in tune though. I mean, thank God you're in tune. And this guy's blessed, man, that he listens, because I know a lot of dudes out there that don't. And the other thing I think chiropractors who are listening to this right now what they need to hear is 100 hours a week. And one of the things I've been doing is I start talking to some of the guys and women that are coming in my office, and they're exhausted. And
Yes.
I'm like, what kind of work you do? And then how many hours you working? 70 hours, 80 hours, 100 hours. And they're like, Dr. Steve, this is what keeps me going. But I also, on the flip side, I get calls from chiropractors all the time and other doctors that I help out, and they're talking about how, they're just tired, and well, they're not tired, they're just emotional,
Mm,
right? And they're working maybe 22 hours to 30 hours a week. And I'm like, there's dudes out there working 100 hours a week outside, on the roof, on the roadways, and you're sitting in an air conditioned office with a cup of coffee, loving on people. Get your head out of your ass, man, and just,
mm,
be grateful. Be grateful, and now see more people. And they're like, well, how do I see more people? Well, get the message out there. Well, how do I get the message out there? Talk to people like you. I mean, it's
yeah.
really simple. Like, it's time for people just to shut up and work, get the word out there. Moms need to hear this, because they make the health decisions in the house. The husband's going to follow. Their life is going to be better. Their family's going to be transformed. And they'll wake up 7, 8 years from now and go, thank God that I said yes and that happened. So,
Yes.
girl, I appreciate you. I want to talk to you more. I've got my innate wheels are spinning, and I think you're awesome. And kudos to the tops. I love them. They're a family to me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you and all you do and all the energy you put out there. It always gives me energy back to see anything that you've put out.
Amen, girl. We got this. And you know what? It's people like you, and we start bringing people into the tribe. You know, chiropractic's really going to get to the masses, and we're getting close. So thank you, and I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. You have a wonderful day.
Always, girl. Always.